will forget all you have heard. To remember any portion of it, any word, will cause you pain, terrible pain.
Captain Matt Ross, I'm amazed you've brought us another documentary. Last week it was about the intricacies of the human heart and the female persuasion. Nothing more accurate. This time it's King's Housing Court. Amazing that you've managed to find such a beautiful rendition of a bunch of absolutely insane, violent people looking to kill you, and making sure that you know that you're the insane one for saying that disagreeing with anything that's happening there. So,
well,
kudos.
First of all, well, thank you, but I didn't pick it. But first of all, it's Lord Ross.
Yes,
to you.
Yes, Lord Ross, Captain Ross.
Yep. So, hey, everyone. Welcome to Yelling at Gaseous Anomalies. I'm your host, Captain Matt Ross, or Lord Ross, and I'm accompanied by my chief consort.
Yes, that's right. I make love to this captain every night, covered in green.
Michael Ponto.
Our wives,
heir apparent to the Empire.
Our wives are aware of it, and they're very upset about it.
Yeah, maybe in your dark fantasies there. How we doing tonight, Mike?
Oh, not bad. It's quite the hootenanny. This was a good old-fashioned, man, I like this episode. It was nice to have an episode that I didn't merely just tolerate, but my goodness, I was into.
You know, it's actually a retelling of something else, but it's called Whom Gods Destroy tonight. It was written by Lee Irwin, based on a story by a science fiction writer named Jerry Soule, directed by Herb Wallerstein. Still had Freiberger and Singer in there. And this is December 5th, 1968 press release, real quick. Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock become prisoners in an intergalactic asylum where the inmates have seized control and plan to rule the universe in Whom Gods Destroy. That's pretty close.
Rule the universe? I mean, I guess technically that was their plan. I mean, they didn't have much of a... That was more of a broad thing, not much of a plan to get their idea, but sure.
And all the people of the galaxy who will not bow to my will must be confined or destroyed.
You know, but if you might remember, this is also similar to some other things. This is like similar to Dagger of the Mind. It's like they forgot all they had learned.
You will forget all you have heard.
From that episode, and they redid it again. But the idea behind this was to show someone who was in great power and falling from grace. I think it's also kind of funny that the name of the planet they're going to, Elba 2, obviously with like hints of Napoleon in there. But, I thought it was a very interesting story as well. I think you liked it better than I did, but, well, we could get into it. What is it that you liked about this one and the story behind it? What did you think?
Okay, well, let's just, go... bird's eye here, 1,000 yards. My goodness, it was just okay from the top. One, right off the bat, we're thrust into the plot. No screwing around, nothing.
The Enterprise is orbiting Elba 2, a planet with a poisonous atmosphere where the Federation maintains an asylum for the few remaining incorrigible, criminally insane of the galaxy.
And it's also multiple things going on. One, we have a cure for insanity. What a novel concept, right? There is mental illness in the 23rd century, but we've got a cure. Catch all. That this home for the criminally insane is on a demon planet, a planet that is not habitable, kind of like Rora Pente, another cool prison planet of ours. Also, the asteroid prison camp from by the not the Pale Moonlight, by Inferno's Light.
Oh yeah, by Inferno's Light. That's DS9.
DS9,
right,
one of my favorite two-parters. And we get down there, and man, the actor playing the warden is doing such a good job of being a little malevolent seeming. I did think there was something off about him, and it's cool because if a writer and director are hinting at that, it's going to feel cheap if 20 minutes later it's revealed that he's evil, but it's a nice payoff if it's revealed 60 seconds later. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So we see that he's, evil, malevolent, and then, it's exactly what we thought. Classic setup. The inmates are running the asylum.
Corey?
Yes, Jim.
story. It's true. He tricked you.
And there's our guy. And that's the thing, too, that you give the main baddie, not only is he insane, but he has this psionic illusion power.
Well, actually, he can change forms entirely. That's it. You're talking about Garth of Izar or Izar. The warden actually is not malevolent. He's actually a good guy, unlike where we met Dr. Adams in Dagger of the Mind. And it's played by Key Luke. I don't know if you know Key Luke and other things. You might have remember him from Gremlins as the grandfather.
No
but he was also
shit.
With Mogwai comes much responsibility.
Yeah.
Holy
he was also the number one
smokes.
son in Charlie Chan. So there you go. He was in a lot of things. He's also the voice of Zoltar from G-Force. I don't know if you know that one. Yeah, in Gremlins, that's who it is. So he was in lots of roles, playing the old Chinese character type of thing, but most famously for Charlie Chan. So, or the son.
I cannot believe that was the grandfather in Gremlins. I love that character, and I never even thought to think about who he was.
Yeah, he's really, really awesome, I think. But to play as the warden, that's good. But then I know what you're talking about with that malevolent look.
Yeah.
Because he's playing the other character.
Oh, yes.
And that goes on several times here. That's what really makes this, I think, have a special twist to it. When I was younger, I didn't find this one that interesting. But now looking back on it and even watching it now, I actually liked it more than when I was younger. It's an interesting take, again, of insanity on this, although it's quite similar to the prior episodes, specifically Dagger of the Mind.
Yeah, but
you were saying you liked it.
I liked it a lot, and especially I really loved. Okay, tell us again. Who is the Batgirl? What's her name?
Oh, Batgirl, Yvonne Craig. That's Marta, the green-skinned Orion slave girl, the only woman on the planet, for that matter.
Because I am the most beautiful woman on this planet.
You're the only woman on this planet, you stupid cow.
She's criminally insane, and for some reason, that's the thing I actually, by the way, like about this. You don't really know why those characters are there. You meet Izar, Garth. You get the impression he did something that made a crew mutiny on him, and he's in this jail. But you don't really know what Marta is. I mean, she seems to be like a praying mantis trying to kill male suitors. But you don't really know what her story is. She's also insane that she thinks she's not only the most beautiful woman in the world, or the universe, and also, so. She is attractive. Cute, yeah, well, as Batgirl, she's very attractive as well.
Well, not
she was
only
with
that,
Elvis at Kissing Cousins.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. I will say this.
Yeah.
She is also, I could tell just from looking at her, like from the very first line delivery, oh, man, she's a good actor. Like, she's got this gravitas and this energy and presence. And I had forgotten that you had told me a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about this episode that it was Batgirl when you made the short. I was like, there's something about her. Like, she's good. She's not just, just some random cute starlet,
Yes.
And she ended up having a great career.
Real talent. Yeah, she had ballet. She had a whole bunch of things. You could tell from the way she moves, even in the dance she does, that she has like some sort of dance training. But she was ballet. She did a whole bunch of things. She was a good actress. Later in her life, and maybe you'll see this with your little ones and repeats, but she's the grandmother pig's voice in Olivia, although that's really out of favor right now. Not Peppa Pig, but
Sugar, I do not know what Olivia is.
Oh, well, one day you'll find out. I'm sure of it, or the equivalent of it. I do like that where we go off in the story, where we get down there is that idea that there's some sort of cure for insanity, and that our somewhat perfect society isn't so perfect. It's something also I like that we're explored here. You always see that the Federation, at least from what we see, all of our characters are the ideal.
Yeah.
They're the best of the best. But you forget there's a whole universe. I mean, you met Harcourt Fenton Mudd, so he's far from ideal.
Yeah, but he's not crazy. Like, that's the fascinating thing. You do believe by the 23rd century that most genetic ailments have been taken care of, or like baldness, people just don't care anymore. But like,
well, they cure the cold, but not here.
Right.
Common cold hasn't been cured. Right.
and apparently in the 31st century we have things like morbid obesity again, and the need for glasses.
And also crying every 10 seconds.
Anyway.
So don't forget
Yes,
that
of
either.
course.
Yeah. You're making fun of Discovery and every other J.J.
Specifically
Abrams.
Starfleet Academy, where I'm like, why are there so many severely overweight people in the 31st century?
Wait till if you ever push yourself to watch Discovery, which somehow I think I will make you do, to see if you can go insane. I'm going to, kind of do it like Clockwork Orange style on you.
Okay,
Put
that
your
might work.
toothpicks in your eyes. But this is a study of madness. That's what TV Guide calls this. I think I would have to agree with it. What is your take on the madness of Garth of Izar? For the little bit you know, because you don't really know. He's a war hero from something. Some people speculate the Klingon War.
Well, didn't they say Axanar?
Yeah, but what is that?
Well,
you don't know.
Now
Axanar now.
Right, now we think of Axanar based on, what was it called? The Battle of Axanar, the big fan film?
Yes. Yes, that's the fan film by Alex Peters. Fun fact, one of my friends, John Lane, he was actually going to be called as an expert on Star Trek in the federal court case over the copyright, which is, what the hell does that mean? How do I get a gig like that? So, but it's a fan film. I'm going to post a link to it. Very high production values. It made Paramount get its knickers in a twist because I think part of it was jealousy, part of it was copyright infringement. Very well done, talking about a battle, the Human Klingon War, that is hinted at in various versions. It's hinted at in TNG, in First Contact, the episode. It's also hinted here in TOS here and there. But he's some sort of war hero from that. And Axanar is a fan production that's actually quite interesting to see, and it's really well done. I wish they actually gotten through with it. Have you seen that entire thing yet?
I have not, but one day.
Okay, well, all right. Well, I'll post it on our community page. You can spend the 30 minutes and watch it. It's it has actually actors from Enterprise in there. That's what got them into trouble originally, but it's a very good story. Axanar also, it relates to a board game supplement to the original Star Trek game holder FASA, F-A-S-A Corporation. There's something called the 4 Years War, talking about the Federation Klingon or Earth Klingon War or Federation Klingon War, starting on the planet Axanar. Totally different, same name.
Gotcha.
All based off of this one line.
Interesting.
It is interesting. Like, you only know a little bit. You don't really know his backstory. I think that actually kind of works. It kind of gives you a kind of a mystery as to what the hell's going on. What is going on? What happened to this guy to lose his mind? How did he get those powers?
Well, listen, I will say, right, that's the thing. Is he human?
Yes.
So then how did he get those powers?
Well, the people that saved him taught him how to repair his body by learning how to change his form.
Interesting.
That's what that is.
How does he manage to change form at will?
The people of Antos taught him the techniques of cellular metamorphosis.
I find it bizarre. You never run into those other aliens, and you never see this again until you get to various shapeshifters and other things. But yeah, it's still an interesting take, and the way they do it on this episode in like a cost-cutting measure of just having the camera twist or fuzz out or fade out, and then he becomes another character. I think that's also pretty creative. So
yeah, no, I thought it was great, and again, it got me a couple of times. I mean, I'm jumping around a little bit, but when Spock showed up and gave her the nerve pinch, I was like, all right, this is good. And then when it gets back, it's like, all right, give the command code. I'm like, and then Kirk knew before I did. You know? I was like, oh man, that's good. Also, I did again, Matt Ross and I, we're both married men. We've got a fair amount of experience with the pharaoh sex. I've never seen something more specific and accurate than a lady saying how much she loves me and then pulling a knife on me.
Well, speak for yourself.
I have to kill you to show you how much I love you.
You mustn't stop me. I love her and I have to kill him.
Like a praying mantis Marta. Yeah, she is very sexy in that way, but it's a little crazy. That's the craziness that you see over there. I think that, the main issue here is like what are they going to do? They're trapped down on this planet. They can't get out. They can't beam up. We've got the same issue in Dagger of the Mind where they're using the same chess problem of king to king's level 2 and all that stuff to...
I said queen to queen's level 3. We have no time for chess problems. Beam me aboard.
The chess problems to get off. How would they get out of this? They're kind of really stuck. It's just for Garth's own insanity and ego that basically becomes his own undoing.
Sure.
That's the main issue of this story.
I was very impressed by how accurately they showed mental illness and grandiosity. I mean, we've sadly met people like that in housing court.
That's true. Well, you don't have to go to housing court. You could go just walk down the street
Correct.
in any city or even down anywhere. By the way, the people that taught him were aliens from Antos. I don't know where the heck that is, and you never hear from them again. There are a couple other things I do. One of the things I like also is the continuity of like the insane asylum. Like you got like that dove with the sun. Maybe I'll wear that for a Halloween costume.
Yeah, I kind of really like that. I thought it was a nice kind of very peaceful humanitarian sigil.
Yeah. It's actually quite nice. I like that kind of continuity. And even though the sets seem a little cheap in that, like these are actually new sets, believe it or not. But they reused a lot of old elements, computer and engineering parts. You'll even see, though, the chair that Dr. Adams used on Captain Kirk in Dagger of the Mind, the mind-erasing chair, which Izar says he uses it to torture people. I thought they got rid of that, but there it is again. So it's towards the end. Mm-hmm. And they used it on but it's a little sloppy, I think. That's what detracts from it because it's so similar to Dagger of the Mind. I think that detracts from the story.
So here's the thing. I can't really remember Dagger of the Mind.
You will forget all you have heard.
Except that there were insane people running the asylum and there was some sort of machine that would blank your memory.
Yeah, actually, it was the doctor was using it. That was a mostly thought out story, but it's where they're on an insane asylum for the criminally insane, and Dr. Adams is using a device to erase memories. And the actual story was he was trying to take revenge on being sent to such a remote place. That was the idea behind it. And here it is very similar. We got this chair to erase memories and also to inflict pain. But there's only a couple of people on this planet as opposed to a whole insane asylum. Anyway, but that's what the similarities of the stories are. But in this one, it concentrates on the inmates as opposed to concentrating on the administrators, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So what else is it something that you liked it as? I'd like to just focus on one thing, if I may, though. And you can tell me what you think. The changing of the forms of Garth. I like the way he changes, and I like the way how the other actors act like him. You pointed out the somewhat leeringness of Governor Corey. Mm-hmm. That's by Key Luke. I like William Shatner losing his crap, pretending to be Izar at the beginning, like he's hitting the floor with a temper tantrum. I actually believe he actually is Izar at that point. I really get the idea that he's losing his crap. And even when he walks away with Marta at the very beginning, after they say they've shot Spock, I like that entire bit. He's saying, I'm going to leave, and he turns into Captain Kirk. I actually believe that he's turned into Captain Kirk and is not Captain Kirk, even though we all know it's William Shatner playing a dual role. I think that was really well done.
Oh, no. Shatner always plays a great madman. It's just that we see how good an actor he is and how basically reserved he plays Shatner as not being a madman at all and not being like an hysteric. It reminded me, him acting out a little bit, it reminded me of him going nuts in, what you call it, Mirror Darkly.
Oh, Mirror. Yes, Mirror Darkly is in. Yes. It's the same type of thing. And I think William Shatner doesn't get enough credit for that, and he actually, I think, acts the heck out of this episode. I actually really enjoy watching him become other people. And the actor who played Garth also.
Oh, he was great.
Pompous arrogance.
Yeah.
It really comes across really well.
Not only that, when they cure him at the end, his switch is so impressive.
Yeah, that where he's like, I don't even know who you are, and I'm just a little bit like he's like calmer in some way. It's really very well done.
By the way,
in regards to
I was walking out of Costco the other day, and there was a middle-aged guy wearing a Terran Empire shirt, big old Earth with a sword going through it. And I said,
well, that's
"Hey,
cool.
Love your shirt, Terran Empire." And he was a little both pleased and slightly embarrassed. He's like, "Oh yeah, you got it."
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. Sometimes when you see Trek in the Wild, that was pretty good. Steve Inhart played Garth.
Died young.
He also played, age 37 in 1972.
I went to look him up.
He was also in he went in a two-parter in The Outer Limits, and he was also General Carter in Like Flynn.
Oh.
I don't know if you ever see In Like Flynn.
I've not. I heard that was actually more of the inspiration for Austin Powers than James Bond was.
Oh, it sure is. It is so ridiculous. It's worth it. Starring James Colburn. You should see In Like Flint, and the second one, I think it's In Like Flint again. It's actually really very funny. I'm sure that name is wrong. You fans, please feel free to correct me and leave a comment or email us at yellingatgas@gmail.com if you want to get in touch with us. But one of the things that about where they were able to do more similar things or more action, like in TNG, is because, just to let you know, where this seems slightly controlled on every level, where you can't say this, you can't say that, how much skin you could show, versus later. Bob Justman said this is an episode where there was a lot of interference by the network. He said, as opposed to TNG, there was no network because everything was syndicated, so we could get away with murder. Here, he was saying that this episode was very controlled, believe it or not, with massive rewrites by the network. They kept saying, it's too similar to this or too similar to that. And they wanted to keep changing pieces of the story.
I will say, I mean, listen, this...
6 rewrites, by the way, and 3 revisions.
I mean, I can see that a little bit because this episode is good. I liked it a lot. I thought it was very entertaining. It doesn't really have a middle.
No.
Like a lot of
that's
them,
what makes it hard.
Yeah, it's like, well, okay, when they get taken over, I mean, listen, they are hauling ass with the story progression, right?
Right.
Like they before the credits, they have set up the premise. They could have easily stretched that out by having them on the way to the planet, talking about the cure with McCoy, credits, and then gotten down there. But nope, they're moving. But the detriment of that is that they didn't really have too much to do after the drop.
Right. No, that's correct. So the other things that are about this, where the story is even made, is that this came from not the person who wrote it for the screen. It's just from a treatment by Jerry Saul, who wrote the Corbomite maneuver, by the way. That's the one with the big giant ball.
I know the Corbomite maneuver.
Okay, last time you didn't, but this time
No, I know the Corbomite maneuver. That's with, what's his name? Ron Howard's Clint Howard.
Yes, that's correct. So he wrote that. He also wrote This Side of Paradise. That's the one with the plants that you don't like. But the reason why Jerry Saul was coming to this late is that he thought this was going to be for a renewal for another season, and Roddenberry owed him one. And then Freiberger came in and changed the story around a lot. So, by the way, the title, Whom Gods Destroy, is actually from a William Wordsworth poem, where the line goes, whom the gods would destroy, they first make mad.
Oh.
So that's the real basis of this, yes.
Interesting.
Crazy. No puns intended over there. And oddly, though, no one picked up on the fact that this was actually still Dagger of the Mind, which it has so much based on it. If you rewatch Dagger of the Mind from season 1, you go like, oh, that seems vaguely familiar. But before that, you were pointing out something that was very similar to Star Trek VI. There's a scene at the end where the two Kirks are fighting each other. I know we're jumping to the end right over there, but you pointed out something. It seemed very similar to Star Trek VI. Why don't you tell us about that?
Obviously. The two Kirks are fighting each other on Aurora Pente. But before we get there, Yep. Yes, sir. Okay, so what we had just a little technical hiccup there, ladies and gentlemen. So I really liked Marta doing her Shakespeare rant and saying that she had written it, and that even though Shakespeare had written it, it doesn't mean that she hadn't written it yesterday as well.
Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all...
You wrote that?
Yesterday, as a matter of fact.
It was written by an earthman named Shakespeare a long time ago.
Which does not alter the fact that I wrote it
Which I
again
thought was
yesterday.
just delightfully silly. Really, really fun. I find her cute. I find her endearing. I really dig her. The energy that she's bringing. And, yeah, I loved the whole... I did love the Kirk versus Kirk fight at the end, which Captain was saying I had brought up to him before. Obviously, my favorite Star Trek movie completely is The Undiscovered Country. It slightly edges out. I was reflecting on this. I know this is going to sound nuts and I'm going to get skewered alive. I was doing my rankings the other day, Captain. I put Voyage Home slightly higher than Wrath of Khan.
Well, you know what? That's fair.
Which means that Undiscovered Country is above that. So anyway, that's my favorite. And yes, I do love it.
Well, we can make a list, but I would go with 642. I would go with that. 642-315. That's kind of my quick version of everything, but
yeah, I think that it comes down to is The Final Frontier worse than Star Trek Nemesis? I would probably say no. I'd probably put Nemesis at the lowest.
Yeah, Nemesis was pretty bad.
Yeah, alas.
But I know anything from 2009 forward, it's kind of a little bit terrible, honestly, you know?
But I mean, that's the cool thing. That's why I loved what Terry Matalas did.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Terry Matalas, when he was making Star Trek Picard Season 3, he said that he felt bad that the TNG crew did not have an Undiscovered Country. You know, they did not have a story to make up for the last story they did that wasn't great. So the original series, Final Frontier, wasn't a great note to end on, so they ended on a great movie, The Undiscovered Country. And for 20 years, we only had... the last time we saw them was Star Trek Nemesis, and then we had Picard Season 3.
That's true, but interestingly, Star Trek 2 was originally supposed to be called The Undiscovered Country.
Oh,
how about that?
I mean, you know, it's all Shakespeare.
Yeah, well, this one, just to let you know, since we were talking about Wadsworth, this is not Shakespeare, except Mara quoting Shakespeare saying she wrote it herself. I think that's hilarious. But Freiberger was trying to push the limits to make the shows darker as well. So he wanted to make that Wink of an Eye, Plato's Stepchildren, The World is Hollow, The Empath. He was trying to make things darker. And for this episode, he was borrowing from the Marquis de Sade a little bit. And Marta is actually a kind of homage to the name Marquis de Sade, believe it or not. But yeah, making Garth a shapeshifter, that was a last minute change. I like that. I think it really adds something to
and again,
watching that fight at the end.
I'm sure that it was something that I've always talked about where, you know, a writer, there have been how many episodes, especially in season 3, they were just thin. There was not enough going on. It just needed a little bit more, like that stupid thing with the memories going out. What was that black box thing with the mute woman?
Oh, the Empire.
It was like there's not
That's
enough
a Freiberger
going
special
on here. You need more plot. And this is great.
Yeah.
They're like, we need a little bit more plot here. We have to have something special and particularly dangerous about this guy.
Right. Well, that's one of the questions. He says he can make a all-powerful explosive, and in fact demonstrates it. Where'd he get the stuff from?
Yeah.
You know? I mean, that's a little bit of a plot hole in this, but let's just say he's an insane enough genius that he was able to order things as Governor Corey or something.
Maybe, I mean, again, so I also brought up to Captain here. I'm a big fan of the augments who appear on Deep Space Nine that Dr. Bashir has to mentor. You know, they are 3 mentally ill people who are also brilliant. One is like a petulant, rebellious, snarky teenager, has the mentality of one. The other one is like the mentality of a sensitive 6-year-old, and the other is like a lascivious, over-sexualized woman. But the thing is, with all these distinct personality faults, you can tell that they're technically brilliant, eons beyond the average person. I kind of got a little bit of that from both Marta and God, what's his name? Garth. Thank you.
Lord.
I know. There's something
Garth.
about them where I'm like, you guys are insane, but competent, not helpless.
Right. And the way they act hooks you into finding out what happens in this. That's really what it is that you're looking at. It's like, what's going to happen next in this situation? There's some other things that are in here. You like the fact that Yvonne Craig, Marta is green. Did you like that green makeup stuff on her? I think she looks pretty good in green. That was, she hated it because the fact is that it was not the same green stuff that they put on the original Orion slave girl, Susan Oliver. And when she had to take it off, they had to use such caustic chemicals that made her skin break out. So she absolutely hated it because they lost the formula for whatever it is they put on the original slave girl. That's actually our second and I think our last time we see a green animal woman slave, as they said. So I think that's a kind of neat thing. But this was actually banned in the United Kingdom for a long time,
What?
this episode.
Why?
Can you believe that? Yeah. Well, because they didn't like the way they were abusing Marta. The BBC found that to be too intense. The abuse. Also, Garth calls her a stupid cow. And they found that too offensive. Yeah, I'm serious.
They should replace United Kingdom with communist Russia. Am I right?
Well, finally those capitalist pigs will pay for their crimes, eh? Hey, comrades, hey?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, listen, they can, fine you for things you say on the internet. I mean, take a look at the high ground from the Next Generation. Although you can kind of see why something that kind of is...
That was the IRA one, right?
Yes, it is. Maybe they didn't want that. But this, I just don't see why this was banned. But, them crazy Brits, maybe those of you in the British Isles or Commonwealths could explain to me why the BBC thought that phraseology was so harsh. But, it was a little weird, especially that line. Let's see, what other things in here? Where Marta tries to kill him. That's the same knife, by the way, that Ilana Troyes throws at Captain Kirk. I think that's funny, if you look carefully. Yeah. Killing her. What do you think about that? Killing her with the explosive. That's kind of like sick on the part of Garth. What do you think about that? Was that a great idea? Bad idea? Do you think it just...
was awful. And in fact, okay, Captain, give me a little bit of I don't know if you have the insight on this. How did they shoot this? Because I'll tell you, oh God, let me explain this. If it was a screen that was being projected or superimposed, there would have been a black line. It looks like they made the background behind the wall and cut out a rectangular hole and said that was a screen and that we were just looking through a window.
Yeah, that's what they did. That's a new set. They were actually...
So that set was huge.
Yes, it was huge. That's where most of the budget went to, in fact. So, although they did reuse a lot of things, like the elements of the electronics, the shots you do see on the Enterprise, where you do see the other characters for a little bit. You see Scotty, Sulu, and McCoy.
Yeah, McCoy did F all this one.
He said 3 lines. I mean, I think I don't think Uhura has a line in this, if I recall correctly, but...
She does.
But I mean, hailing frequencies open. But, they can't get down to the planet. They're pretty much trapped. It all takes place on the planet. That's what I actually like that. And they're really cut off from support, But you have to know that they're going to get out. But that is an actual set. What Yvonne Craig said is 1 minute I'm sitting there, then cut, and then they blew some stuff up when she wasn't sitting there. And that was the end of her day. So
that was okay. I can tell that was some sort of victim of a rewrite.
Yes,
because like she was so important for the first 3/4 of the episode, and then suddenly she's just dead.
Yeah, no, she's dead. I found that I find that now seeing it kind of shocking. That's like the big event at the time. It's really surprising to see that or Garth just kills her. It's really cold. And it actually betrays his insanity. And you have to wonder, he's there because his crew mutinied? Previously, no crew had mutinied in Starfleet. That's what Kirk had said at one point. That was in the Omega Glory in the Thalian Web, where everyone's killing each other. All the crew members.
That makes sense, because at this point, we're post-apocalyptic. We're supposed to be, all kind of on the same board together.
Yeah, but
that was like a tenet of Gene Roddenberry's concept that there would be no mutiny, right?
Right, and everyone gets along with each other, which makes it difficult to write. That's why TNG's first 2 seasons are really stilted, but there's no conflict among anybody. But this, people a little bit more rough, as Janeway says it in an episode of Voyager, they were a little quick on the phaser, a little bit more loose with the Prime Directive. You kind of see it here. By the way, something before I forget, Yvonne Craig's biggest complaint about the green makeup, and you'll see that the lights are dimmed in a lot of the episodes, a lot of the scenes that she's in with Shatner and so forth. It's because her makeup they were using was bleeding onto everything. His costume, the floor, all over the place. So right before they blew her up, they just didn't care because she was at a distance. So it didn't matter that it got on anything. But apparently Shatner did not like the fact that she was like oozing her makeup all over him. It wasn't her fault, she said, but she felt like it was like, how dare you ruin my uniform? That type of thing. But it was like all over the place. So she was happy to get
also a weird way that they were shooting her, that in the beginning... when we were watching this, when I was watching this, I was texting the captain. It's like, Captain, is she painted green, or does she just have a green light on her? Because they had this powerful green light, but then obviously when I saw her out of it, it was a strange choice.
Mm-hmm. No, true. What else? What do you like as the fake Nimoy / Spock on this? Did you like it?
Mr. Scott, the captain's life is in immediate danger. Beam him aboard at once. The security team will be entrusted to me.
Queen to Queen's level 3. Repeat. Queen to Queen's level 3.
He's waiting for the proper reply, Captain.
Give the countersign as ordered.
Scotty, Mr. Spock will give the countersign.
He was great, and here's the thing, it made me a little sad, because when he saved, quote unquote saved him, I was like, Nimoy's playing this a little bit warmer than usual. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's funny because he sent out a letter complaining about this part and actually locked himself in his trailer for half a day doing the barest minimum. He argued over that fight at the end between the two Kirks, saying, Spock would have used deductive logic. How dare you? As again, he thought that his character was acting too silly. Isn't that crazy?
Well, also, I did point out to the captain, the phaser was not a gun. It was on stun.
Yeah. Why not stun both?
Yeah, just stun them both.
Yeah, and then
one of them wouldn't be able to hold.
Yeah, and one of them wouldn't be able to hold his shape.
A concussive charge would blow out the security fields. We can go in with the phasers on a wide beam, stun everybody, sort it out later.
But so there was a huge memo that Nimoy sent out. Basically, he sent out a huge letter basically saying how disgusted he was with this episode, how this is an exact copy of Dagger of the Mind, and that there's a line here from this letter, which I like a lot. He thought that Freiberger was cutting Spock down, making him dumber. So this line is, my primary interest in contacting you gentlemen is my concern over my lack of experience in playing dummies. Perhaps you could arrange to get me educated in this area. Maybe if I watched some Blondie episodes and watched Dagwood as a role model, I could pick up some pointers, or perhaps still, I could get right to the bottom of the line by wearing some braids and feathers and leaning into grunt, Kimosabi. Any suggestions? Hopefully, Leonard Nimoy. So Freiberger basically told him to shut up. It's called The Letter, as it was sent to the head of the studio, Doug Kramer, this letter, complaining about Freiberger not knowing what the hell he was doing. But they didn't change anything, and I still think he did fine. I think, I understand what he's saying, but geez, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Nimoy has said this on many occasions. Writers come and go, directors come and go. The only constant for a character that's with this longevity is the actor. So they have to be able to make sure that they have some sort of, final barrier against things they fundamentally disagree with. In this case, he might have been wrong because I think everything worked perfectly.
Right. But that actually takes us to our resolution, that fight at the end between the two Kirks. And now that we've seen Star Trek 6, all I keep thinking of when I see it is not him, not me, him, you idiot. It's just when he shoots him.
What took you so long? Kill him. He's the one. Not me, you idiot. Him.
Not me, you idiot. Him. Although I really liked that it was revealed that the Klingon warden there knew which one was who. Because he shoots the bad one and then says, no witnesses. Like he was always going to kill the shapeshifter.
Right. He wanted to kill everybody. I like the fact that you get the impression that it's not there, but that he was not 100% sure. But the resolution is rather quick. I find after taking out Garth and Spock having a phaser just to begin with, they're able to beam down with we just happen to make up a new batch of medicine and cure everyone. That's where you see McCoy finally. You could go on about the throne room and then the insanity, but I think that pretty much covers it. I don't really think unless there's something specific you want to talk more on this, but I think that pretty much covers it. So
no, and I'm just going to point this out here, man. Okay, let's get to our ratings because I got a bone to pick with the rest of the Star Trek community.
Okay, so then Mike, on our super secret 1 to 10 scale, what are you going to give Whom Gods Destroy?
I give this, I really like the acting. I really like the setup and the concept. I thought everyone was doing a much better job than normal. Like the Marta was done much better. Garth was done much better than the normal claptrap actors they bring in. I got to see Kirk go a little outside his comfort zone, not doing anything freaking silly, like jumping around like an idiot. Like I still think having nightmares of the Donkey Show. I wish that the supporting
Plato's stepchildren, everyone.
I wish that the supporting cast, like McCoy and Hora and Sulu, was Chekhov even in this?
No. At least I don't recall it. But go ahead.
So ultimately, great concept. Like I said, a little underwritten in the middle. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10.
Wow, that's 2 points higher than me.
Really?
I'm giving this a 6 out of 10.
What did you like about it?
I felt it to be almost the exact same story of Dagger of the Mind. I thought that was it. I always find it, as you're saying, without the middle, it's a little slow. I just don't like the way how we have the doubles again. That reminds me of The Enemy Within with 2 Kirks. I like the idea of insanity. I like the insane asylum, but we've already seen this before. It's like where they're running out of ideas, or they're not realizing, and they forgot all that they have learned from the prior one. So it's very similar to other stories they have done. So it's not terrible. It's slightly above average for me. So that's why I'm giving it a 6. I stand by that. But let's talk about our money next. So, Mike, this was 1 day over filming, thanks to Whining by Leonard Nimoy. And also issues with the paint for Marta. How much was this in $1968?
We also had special effects. We also had that sweet green set, man. That was awesome. Boy. I'm gonna say 199,000.
Nope. They actually were close to budget. They were only 1,100 over. They were $179,778 in 1968, which is $1,720,392.80 in 2026. Actually, one of the things they did for cost cutting, opening scene where you have Spock being dragged away, they didn't fire a phaser. They just said, we'll cut the commercial and just go like that. So, but
Smart.
yeah, that's pretty smart. I actually think this was a lot of fun. Not as much fun as you, but that's the end of this episode.
So the funny thing that I saw was that I looked this up just at the end of our little conversation here, and this is ranked as the 11th worst of all original series. What the heck?
Well, I mean,
there were so many worse.
This is this is your bone to pick with the Star Trek community. Well, that's a minor bone, if anything. But it's not the 11th worst. I wouldn't put it in one of the worst of TOS. To me, like one of the worst of TOS is Plato's Stepchildren with the Donkey Show, as you so aptly made, or Whom the Children Shall Lead, which you, for some odd reason, like with the flying swords. But it's hard. I think this is actually a better episode for the third season, just not one of the best and not one of the worst of overall. It's just, I've seen it. You've seen it too. And it's been used in other things.
I mean, here's the thing. Maybe because you have a much more encyclopedic knowledge of the original series, maybe accordingly, I didn't have the negative connotation that it was, overly repetitive of Mind of the Dagger, Dagger's Mind.
Dagger of the Mind.
Dagger of the Mind, right. So, I don't know what to tell you.
Well,
I had a fun time.
Well, I had a fun time too. It's just not one of my better fun times. I tell you one nice little side peach, that scene with the fight with Marta and Kirk where he grabs his hand when she throws the knife. She inadvertently sliced his hand open. So they had to get the doctor, and Yvonne Craig thought he was acting like a baby. But I think that's actually, let's see you get your hands slit open. But anyway, there's our ratings. Mike gave it an 8. I gave it a 6. And let me tell you about what our next upcoming episode is. I'm sure you'll know it when I describe it past its title. Then the next episode is called Let That Be Your Last Battlefield. Do you know that one, Mike?
The black and white aliens. The black and white cookies.
Black and white aliens. Yep. The very, very apparent anti-racist message that'll be coming up next on our next episode of Yelling at Gaseous Anomalies. And as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you can find out when our next episodes are coming out. And Mike, anything else you want to tell our listeners out there?
Nope. Insanely tired, but always happy to pod with my captain. Always a good time. And as God is my witness, we're doing videos this summer. You're going to see our delightful faces. You hear me?
Yes. Yeah, Mike said we're going to do it. He blackmailed. I mean, he said that we have to do it. It's okay.
Yes, correct.
We are going to record. Besides, I owe you all, the talking tricorders.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, we got to take a look at that. And Mike wants to do that breakdown of the scene. So that's all coming up this summer on our next episodes of Yelling at Gaseous
Anomalies. It only took two and a half years.
Hey, I've said it right before. And anyway, everyone, thanks again. Don't forget to also email us at yellingatgas@gmail.com. And as always, live long and prosper, and we'll see you out there.
Mr. Spock, letting yourself be hit on the head, and I presume you let yourself be hit on the head, is not exactly a method King Solomon would have approved.
You will forget all you have heard.